The Modern Warfare 2 beta has been going on over the past weekend, and I wanted to take the time to talk about it before the campaign drops in a couple of weeks. Let's go ahead and get the obvious thing out of the way first. The game feels good to play. Good job, Infinity Ward. You didn't fuck it up. Now that we got that out of the way, let's talk about some of the newest changes to the controls. The last Modern Warfare had a slide mechanic that you also had the ability to slide cancel and shoot while sliding. It seems that now these features have been removed from the game. I'm not sure why this is. If this was an attempt to balance the game, I'm not exactly sure why they kept the slide in the game to begin with. They added dolphin diving back into the game, which seems like a replacement for sliding, so this all just feels confusing. But hopefully these changes are addressed before launch. Other than those changes, the gameplay is practically identical to the previous Modern Warfare, which isn't a bad thing since that game already felt amazing to play. We have to pour one out for my boy the pump action shotgun since it's nowhere to be seen in the beta. It could still be in the final game, but that remains to be seen. Speaking of guns, let's talk about Gunsmith 2.0 for a second. Gunsmith works a bit differently this time around. Instead of having separate guns with their own upgrade paths, each gun seems to have a number of bases to swap between. For example, the M4 in this game starts out as the assault rifle we all know, but once you level up the M4 to max, you unlock 2 more bases to use as replacements for the assault rifle base. So you can switch it from being an assault rifle to a battle rifle or an LMG on the fly without losing the attachments each base shares. I find this to be a pretty welcome change and hope to see Gunsmith 2.0 fleshed out even more as the game gets more updates. Gunsmith was one of the best mechanics of the previous game, and I'm happy to see they haven't abandoned it. Perks work a bit differently this time. Instead of selecting 3 perks, you now have the ability to pick 4, with 2 of them activating at certain points during each match. The rework done to perks is rather welcome since it incentivizes each player to choose their playstyle within the sandbox. I choose to go for a more stalker type of playstyle since whenever I try to dive headfirst into a gunfight, I instantly lose. So I tailor my perks to work for the type of player I am. It's not like this has never been the case for COD, but it's nice to see Infinity Ward putting more of an emphasis on player choice when it comes to each player's role in the sandbox. One of the biggest things Infinity Ward has been marketing for the new game is the addition of a third-person game mode. I'm glad that it is its own separate game mode rather than a new option, because trying to balance 2 POVs like that without them being separate would be an absolute nightmare. So how does COD control in third person? Surprisingly, very good. I have some issues with the way certain things work, but I think it still feels very good overall. My main gripes are that sometimes grenades don't go exactly where you want them to go. This is mainly an issue with the fact that there isn't a grenade arc when you ready one, probably because there's already a perk that does that for you. So aiming a grenade in third person can be a bit of a gamble. The other thing that I noticed is that you can indeed shoulder swap, but only if you're sitting still. This is because the shoulder swap button is bound to L3, the sprint button. So shoulder swapping while moving is off the table. This can prove quite annoying if you're in the heat of a firefight, but I haven't had too many situations like this happen to me. It's just something I think should be addressed in the future. That's about everything I have to say on the beta for Modern Warfare 2. Overall, I've really been enjoying my time with it despite its shortcomings. Hopefully Infinity Ward fixes some of the problems and tunes the game in just the right way. The nice thing about there being no Call of Duty next year is now the developers will actually have the time to polish what needs fixing in this multiplayer mode. They won't be shoved to the side for whatever new game would have released for next year. It'll be nice for them to take a year off and focus on the current game. If they make great maps and polish some of the smaller things that don't quite work, I think this could end up being a really great multiplayer mode for the series. Now, if only I could stop sucking ass at this game. God damn!